documentary number one. It's 2000s to 2006. This is a new beginning. From moving place to place and a beginning to present rivalry, from best friends to enemies. Coming from the West Coast Canada in Edmonton, Alberta, I have lived most of my life on the northeast side of the city. And at the beginning, me and Byron became friends, sharing common interests in ways of styles, gaming, happening, both investing in friends. Him and his mom, June Stancher, would always invite me to come and hang. When my mom was having problems with me, and she had problems with drinking, used to say that she was the crazy lady in Unit 156 in Londonderry. There would have been times that I would have stayed at Byron's just to say I was moving in, and they would let me stay if I had to. The distance began with me and Byron a few years later, leading up to when I became a teenager after having different experiences from meeting people who had different opinions about me as my behavior became outspoken, creating a new name, a physical activity becoming a more serious and consistent with being competitive. From personal experiences to friendships to more popular with meeting people and hooking up with women that were only a few years older than me. Everything became invested with, involved with people, and getting popular attention from the public. Still keeping reminding of us of my home living, and my mother with her having another boyfriend, to being called out at schools. I had eventually been kicked out of my mother's attempting to punish me at 12 years old. I was still old enough to be allowed to drink and smoke weed. My mother would have tried to discipline me, and I refused to do what she tried to say, and I was homeless. I contacted Byron. He said it was okay if I needed a place to stay, so I headed that way. With an even bigger rip, I had a way meeting him in a couple of years before moving place to place. I had went swimming and noticed my in-laws were there that day, and I had a new spot to stay. My Uncle Smokey always wanted us to learn how to manage routine at his place, which had a bigger and part of life skills that I obtained cleaning, working, cooking, and holding responsibilities. The house was divided between 9 people, and everyone who was welcome to come over at any time to stay. Seemingly, my mother was no longer in the picture, and me and Byron would still hang. I believe that people we went to school with would have caught on to things that Byron still has his name. And I was extending my reputation. People that I met through the same schools, and people that Byron knew. And Byron would gossip, insult, and try to influence me to other people that he did things that weren't true. So I lose my cool in front of him and toss him around like a friend would do. I had a steady long-term girlfriend that I would always come and visit at my uncle's. But in a few, he kicked me out, and I lived with Byron again because of a curfew. So I started to meet people in the neighborhood, and Byron knew. We were deciding on dropping out of school and starting to sell weed to our friends but realized that the allowance Byron had wasn't enough to smoke either. We had a good group of people, and then I moved to Lloydminster, Alberta, Saskatchewan, in another city out of town, back and forth from my mom's grandparents, uncle, and Byron's, while trying to keep my friends and all my girlfriends. Trying to stay available, I ended up homeless and back in Edmonton